You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saying is something we've never seen before.
My name is Marcus, right? You think you're human? I am human.
Okay. Terminator Salvation was one of the biggest blockbusters last summer, and in that scene, we see Marcus finally realizing that he's a robot and not a human like he thought of the entire movie. That same situation is found in the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by science fiction author Philip K. Dick, where the main character is also questioning whether he is really a real person, a human, or if he's a robot. The question of what is real and what makes us human are themes found in many places in literature, but this author, Philip K. Dick, was especially obsessed with these ideas. Today I want to demonstrate for you these main themes as found in some of his most notable works. A short biography. Philip Kindred Dick was born on December 16th, 1928. When he was young, Dick and his family moved to California, actually to Fullerton, and lots of notable landmarks show up in his writing, like for instance Cal State Fullerton and things like that. He sold his first story in 1951 and his first novel in 1955. After that point, he continued to write for the rest of his life, and although he didn't really gain fame during his lifetime, he was still able to support himself from his writings. In 1963, Dick won the Hugo Award for this book, The Man in the High Castle, based in an alternate universe where the Axis powers are victorious in World War II, and the U.S. is divided between Japan and Germany. According to Paul Williams, a writer for Rolling Stone magazine, and author of the article, The True Stories of Philip K. Dick, The Man in the High Castle is like a crazy mirror reflection of our own reality, subtly illuminating the world we live in by drawing our attention to where the two worlds differ. So this is probably his most famous book, and it gave him the most fame in his life. On February 20th, 1974, Dick had a kind of strange experience where he experienced the first in a series of visions. He was heavily involved in drugs at the time, so that's probably what happened. But he believes that it was something deeply spiritual. And according to the Gospel, according to Philip K. Dick, a documentary on his life, Dick stated that he started including spiritual themes in his work and dealt with his experiences by writing the semi-autobiographical novels Valis and Radio Free Albemus, where, according to Publishers Weekly, the search for God is the binding theme. Dick died in Santa Ana, California on March 2nd from a stroke he had suffered 5 days earlier. After his death, an android was built in his likeness, and it appeared on a panel at Comic-Con to promote his book, the movie version of his book, A Scanner Darkly, starring Keanu Reeves. According to Ain't It Cool News, the android suffered some technical difficulties where it ended up staring at the ceiling and mumbling. But then it started to give all those wrong answers to the questions. It started to speak. Throughout his life, Dick continued to write and publish 44 novels and many other short stories and essays. One of the most notable novels is entitled Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The story confronted the reader with the question, what makes us human? It follows a man named Rick Deckard, who's a bounty hunter, as he tries to retire 6 androids who are posing as humans. To test if a subject is a human or an android, Rick applies an empathy test which sees if the subject can feel sorry for another person or animal. And Dick is saying through this is that empathy is what makes us human, and it's what sets us apart from non-sentient beings. Because this is the one area scientists were not able to artificially replicate. The movie was also made into a film called Blade Runner, which the American Film Institute places 97th on their list of the 100 greatest movies of all time. It was made in 1982, and like any movie, there are many differences from the book, but the main message still remains. The climax is where Rick is chasing an android across the rooftops, and he falls, and the android catches him and saves his life, even though he was trying to kill him. And this is kind of left us the question, like, is the android really feeling sorry for the human, and if so, does that make it human, and where's the line? In 1974, the same year Dick had his first vision, he published a novel called Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. This novel asks us the question, what is true reality? It follows a man named Jason Taverner, who was a famous TV personality and pop star. He was virtually known throughout the world. And one day he wakes up in an unknown apartment in a urban bad area, and and no one knows who he is. And so this story kind of follows him as he goes through his, he tries to figure out what happened. And in the end, it is discovered that an admirer of him named Alice took a drug called KR3 that fractures reality and changes it to fit what she wants. And she was mad at him, and so she didn't want him to be known. He's showing through the story, again, his theme of how can we know what's real, how can we know what's false. I mean, Jason was going through all these things, but was it really just a byproduct of the drug, or does that make it real? And he never really answered these questions. He kind of left it up to the reader. He further, again, this theme shows up in this story, I Hope I Shall Arrive Soon. It was first published in Playboy in 1980, and it follows mainly one astronaut within a group of astronauts who are going on a 10-year-long trip. They are put into suspended animation, it's called cryosleep or whatever, and it's so that this 10-year-long trip just seems like it's really short, and they don't age and all this stuff. There ends up being a problem in the system, and one of them, a man named Victor Cummings, wakes up, and he's paralyzed, but he's still conscious. And so the ship's artificial intelligence starts playing his memories back to him to keep him sane. And then when the ship finally arrives, Victor can't accept the fact that he's really arrived, and he thinks that the computers is still just playing him that situation, and that it's not really real. So again, obviously it's exploring the concept of reality and what makes it real, and how do we know that things are real. This is a topic he explored very heavily through his whole career. He never answered the questions himself, but instead let it up to the reader, and it was kind of a therapeutic way for him to write about it, because he was trying to figure out himself too. Although he is not very well known to the mainstream of America, his work is still present in many popular movies, including Minority Report, A Scanner Darkly, Total Recall, and Blade Runner, which are all based on books of his. As more and more of his books are being adapted, we can see that he was well ahead of his time, and his ideas and messages still apply to the people of today and of the future.
So, Aileen, what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was very interesting, and I liked the attention device. It got everybody really into it. And I thought he had good visuals. I was like, because when he first pulled up just the one book, I was like a little irritated because I couldn't see very well. But then he started putting the books up onto the PowerPoint, so I thought that was much better because everybody could see it. I don't really remember what the thesis statement was, but I thought it was good. I thought it was really interesting.
Okay. I thought you did okay handling the video clip at the beginning, and I think the discussion of the theme is really what's important there, that you have a character who is facing the dilemma that there's something that they didn't believe that they were, there's something different, and what constitutes being real. So I like the idea that that comes up several times in the stories. I think you need to kind of emphasize that theme a little bit more in each of the sections, because when you're talking about a particular work, sometimes it seems to be just off on that story, and it doesn't tie back to your original theme. I see a couple of places where it does, but that's not consistent. I think the setup could be a little bit sharper about how you're going to proceed. You start off with some biographical information, and then it just seems to kind of go from story to story, and I think there's really more to it than that, and it's not coming across as well. So organizationally, I can tell when you're moving from one idea to the next. I'm sorry.